11 kilometres around. Total distance for the race is 62 kilometres. The Stanley Tools Australian Drivers' Championship, live out of Sandown in Victoria. Beautiful day for motor racing, and this should be a dogfight. Okay, watch for the green light. Been cleared at the rear of the grid. We'll have a start in just a few seconds' time, and watch this drag off the line. It should be sensational. Both drivers want to get the advantage from the word go. On the green, racing now, all getting away very well. The strike gets going too. That's Poole behind the wheel. At the moment, Simon Kane again has made the best of starts as the drag comes up. Scaife's going to win it. The drag is on the inside. He'll get the line over to Poole. Poole goes on the outside. Oh, lots of brake smoke there. And Poole gets into second place. I told you that was on.
A great start by Poole. Actually, he put the power down really well. Not too much wheel spin. Got an excellent start. Was able to pass Kane with that left-hander. First couple of laps will be really interesting. The tyres will be nice and cold, so you'll see the cars sliding around until they get some warmth in those tyres.
Okay, and they're all on the same Dunlop rubber. They're called restrictive tyres, so every car is on the same compound rubber. And as this race progresses, the tyres get hotter. And unlike in some races, Alan, where the tyres go off, these tyres actually get stronger. That's a shot out of Drew Price's car.
That's right. Actually, this is really good. I tell you, Poole is really setting himself up well here. If he can get right behind Scaife coming onto the grandstand straight, he might be in a good position to tow past him.
Poole is in the Australian-built car, which is car 21. It's carrying on a great tradition of Australian race car manufacturing out of Adelaide. It's made by the TAFE College. He broke 2 axles yesterday in practice, so they've got it right for race day.
Well, let's hope for them they have. In fact, Scaife broke a gear linkage this morning in the warm-up, so it's just amazing with those little troubles you can find in the warm-up. But let's hope they all come together for the race morning.
Once again, Simon Kane not getting the best of starts. He did this at Oran Park and had to play catch-ups the whole way round, but he's still well in touch at the moment. Remember, Scaife has to win it, so does Kane. And Poole, well, he's the joker of the pack.
Yeah, look, I've got nothing but admiration for this car and the effort that those guys in Adelaide have done. I mean, it just shows that a group of Australians in Adelaide can build a car to equal anything that's built overseas. I reckon that's great.
Well, Gary Cooper and the Elford Company, of course, for many, many years was a leading manufacturer of race cars, and he passed on in the sport, and now this company's taken it up. But Adelaide's always been the leader as manufacturer of racing cars here in Australia.
Well, that's right. I mean, Elford used to make terrific Formula 2s, Formula 5000s. In fact, there's an Elford sitting over in South Australia right at this very moment that's good, would be excellent for this type of racing, and they're just looking for a sponsor.
Mark Scaife in car number 3, the Nissan driver in touring cars, is concentrating on this class to further his skills. Now, he's just come back from England, only got in here late Thursday night, and he tested for the Nissan sports cars, for the World Championship cars, and finished only a 1/10 of a second slower than Martin Brundle, who is the current world champion.
Well, that's true. It was at a place called Donington, which is not an easy circuit. It's a place that I've tested at many times. He went up there and hopped in the Group C car and acquitted himself really well, and apparently they were very impressed indeed. And the reason for him going over there was a direct result of him winning this championship race at Oran Park.
Drew Price in the 86 Ralph RT20. Good pickies coming out of this car. You can see right up on the Ripple Strip. Now, this is a very, very fast part of the circuit. They blast up here into 5th now, or he'd be 4th now, looking for 5th. He'll come over the top of this hill and it gets very light. Watch the eyes here. Total concentration. Has a quick look in the mirrors to see who's there. And then they'll come down to the S's, and it's very, very hard on the brakes. You must get this completely right.
Oh, yeah, very important, because once again, like all cars over that section, you jump on the brakes, the front of the car goes down, the back of the car goes up, the back gets very light, and if you're unfortunate enough to put a wheel on the Ripple Strip or on the dirt, well, when the back of the car is light like that, bang, you're off, which Neil Crompton will tell you about in great detail if you ask him.
Interesting to note, though, you know, this is a Holden engine car. That car you can see is McLaughlin's car. It broke on the start line. Electrical problems, we think, which he had all through practice. But this guy drives for Nissan, and Drew Price is driving Toyota, and they're driving Holden products. So it's great to see the other manufacturers supporting this championship.
Well, they're supporting the championship, but they also see the necessity, I think, to bring their young drivers on in a formula that will probably give them a bit more aggression and preciseness than what they would normally get in a touring car, and I think it's great of Nissan and Toyota to do that.
Mark Scaife with a lap of 1:9.59, so he's not hanging about. But Poole doing a great job. He's holding Kane out into 3rd. Well, Kane had to do this exact same job, only it was Crompton himself. Oh, and a half a lurch, he's gone. Mark Scaife is off into the dirt. Well, rotten luck, that's where he went off yesterday. Oh, he would be so disgusted with himself there. He's just pulled out a fast lap and just skated off the track. He hit the other fence yesterday in practice. Well, that's it for him today.
He might get going, I don't know. I mean, he went in completely sideways. He may have damaged the front left-hand wing on the car, but if he hasn't done that, here we go now, is a replay of it. He's gone in, see the back of the car goes light, the front of the car is down, he brakes, and that's it. You see the back of the car just swings out, he puts on correction, but too late, once in the lap of the gods once that happens, and he just skates in and hits those tyres completely sideways on. So he may not have done that much. He may be able to continue the race, but he's out of the running.
Oh, lost a lot of ground there. Now, Kane now will know this. Kane went past and saw that Scaife was off, so that helps his championship cause now. But that's Poole up in front. He's got a little buffer now on Simon Kane. Coming over the top of the hill, this is in the area where Scaife went off. They come down this hill. This is where Neil Crompton crashed on Thursday, doing a lot of damage to his car. Right there, he went off. You can see the skid marks, and that's where Scaife lost it. So Kane now chasing Poole. He might be content now just to back off a little and take second.
I don't think so, Des. I think he'll have the eyes on now, and he'll be going for it, because if he can win this race, he's virtually consolidated the championship, and it's a hell of an incentive for him. But, you know, I've got to say that Poole's driving very, very well.
Exceptionally well. The Australian-built car by the TAFE College. And Alan, the TAFE boys have also done a great job at Bathurst over the years. And people having prangs on the Friday and the Saturday. The TAFE boys get the cars completely rebuilt for Sunday morning in the Bathurst race. I mean, they've been doing it for a lot of years.
Well, I've seen cars go into that garage you would never think would live again, ever. And then they've had them back on the grid the following morning. It's just incredible the job they do on those cars. I mean, I've seen, as I say, completely written off. And the next morning, they're not only on the grid, but they look terrific.
OK, you're looking at Simon Kane. He's running in the number 2 spot. We'll take a break. Be back shortly. Welcome back. You're looking at the top 3 positions at the moment after 7 laps. Mark Poole, Simon Kane, Drew Price, 1, 2 and 3, and Kane closing in now on Poole.
Yes, he is. I've just been keeping an eye on him, and he's actually dragged that gap right down. Poole had about a 2 to 3 second lead over him, and now, as you can see, Kane is right on his tail. So that's good. I mean, Poole just locking a front right-hand wheel there as he turns into the right-hander. You know, Simon, if he just takes it easy, and he knows there's quite a few laps still to go, he's taking a totally different line than Mark Poole there as they come out of that corner. This could develop into a bit of a scrap in about another 3 laps, I reckon.
Mark Poole, the South Australian Formula V State Drivers Champion. That was in 1981. Also the CAMS Racing Driver of the Year. He's competed in England for 2 years as a works driver for Quest and Chevron sports cars, with many wins there. So he's got a fair bit of experience, Poole, but in a car that's far less sophisticated than this one here, the latest route.
Great shot there, looking back at Simon Kane as he goes up the straight towards the top of that hill. You can see Mark Poole in the foreground there. He's just seemed to have got away from him a little bit on that lap. Down through these S's, that's where Scaife went off, just here. Tiny little bit of a straight leading up to the right-hander into the S's just before the pits and the pit straight.
Rounding up Poole at the moment. Poole, of course, in front of him, broke 2 axles yesterday in practice, something that's not happened before in the car. They were very mystified about it, just hoping. They've got their fingers crossed that it won't happen again today.
They're coming up on 3 back markers at the moment. With a little bit of luck, they may come across them on the back straight, so there won't be a problem to them. But if those 3 guys can get up the back straight and into the tight twisty section as these 2 guys approach them, that could be a help or a hindrance to either Kane or Poole.
Some of the Formula 2 cars that are in this field today, actually, drivers come up.
That number 17, Russell Davidson's got an interesting story. He actually took up motor racing because he broke his neck in a road car accident, and he reckoned that he needed to do something about his driving, so he took up motor racing, and that's what sparked an interest, and he's been at it ever since. So he actually started motor racing because he broke his neck in a road car.
Gee, Kane got checked by him then, I'll tell you. He really had to slice over onto the ripple strip. Now he blasts past him. Kane might be conserving brakes and tyres for the later stages of the race, because I'm sure he'll have a go to try and win this.
Yeah, well, as you can see, Poole has pulled down a hell of a lot now, you see, because Kane got balked quite badly by those 3 cars. It really is a little bit of luck of the draw. If you come across those in the wrong part of the circuit and the guy in the front of you hasn't, well, you know, I mean, as you can see, he's probably gained about a second or so advantage over that little bit.
Yeah, it's so frustrating, Alan, too, because, you know, you drive your butt off to get up in touch with the leader, and then one silly mistake, the car that really isn't running within the championship rules. I mean, it does make it pretty heartbreaking for these fellas. I mean, there's a lot at stake here.
Well, there is. You see, old Simon's really giving it a go. Now he had the back hanging out there onto the straight. But, you know, they're having their own dice as well, and I guess they've got to drive their own race. And it is the luck of the draw. If you come across them at a tight, twisty part of the circuit, they can inadvertently balk you. And as you can see, Poole's gained quite a big advantage through that.
Well, Mark Poole, he certainly had his problems throughout the year. This car, as we said, a locally built car up against very sophisticated machinery, the Ralt cars out of England, put together by the Scaife, the TAFE. I keep saying Scaife, it's the TAFE. Probably Scaife would like to have the TAFE car at the moment, because this is not going so well. But this college of kids have done a fantastic job with this car, and they would be over the moon. The fact that it's up front at the moment, you've only got to look at the wheels. They aren't the latest Momo wheels. There's just a bit of price cutting on the car as they work to a budget, but at the moment it's working as well as anything in the field, and that's Kane in the very latest car. You can see it's got a narrower front on it, so less resistance, a lot slipperier car through the air.
Well, Scaife is actually back up into 7th place after 10 laps, so obviously that little bit of a spin into the tyres hasn't done too much damage to the car. It'll be interesting to see what sort of lap times he's doing. Knowing Mark, he's probably got the eyes right on now and breaking lap records.
I'd be very disappointed. That's looking out at Drew Price's car now. He's running 3rd at the moment, losing a little touch for the leaders. Coming up this back area we talked about here, and stood over here and watched them practice yesterday, and the cars are very, very fast over the top here at the moment, pulling around about 150 mile an hour, 260 Ks in 5th gear, 6,900 revs as they come over the top of the hill, and really hard on the brakes down here, and the cars move around. You can see how much movement's there, correcting all the time, up on the ripple strip, and then this little short straight comes down into 4th gear, then back into 2nd gear, and then of course they hit the straight in 2nd. Now he'll wind his way back up into 3rd, 4th and 5th to once again about 260 clicks at the end of the straight. So they're not really hanging about, but they've got to work the cars the whole way.
Oh, well, that's the beautiful thing about open wheelers. You know, you don't run out of brakes, you don't run out of tyres. You can really just drive at 10 tenths the whole race. I mean, you'll expire before the car does if there's no mechanical problems. Great shot there of Drew Price, full of concentration. All right, we'll take this advantage to go to a commercial and be back with you shortly.
Nice to have your company right around Australia as you look at the Stanley Tools Australian drivers round here at Sandown Park out of Melbourne. Beautiful day's motor racing, and couldn't be a better day for this fellow, Mark Poole, in the Australian Shrike car, built in South Australia, out in front, still doing it nicely from Simon Kane in 2nd. Drew Price is in 3rd spot.
Actually, Mark Scaife's driving like a man possessed. He's now up into 4th place, and he's broken the lap record, a set fastest lap with almost a 9.0, which is nearly 0.3 of a second quicker than what he qualified at, so he's obviously upset.
Yeah, he would be devastated because he really wanted to win this, and when he got poled yesterday, I know he was very, very happy about that. 15 out of 20 have reeled off. That's Simon Kane coming up the 2nd place car. You can see if we can get a shot of Mark Scaife for you, because he really is lowering the lap record. That's Simon Kane in 2nd place, leading the championship.
Mind you, does a good 2nd place here is going to really put him in good stead for the championship.
Yes, well, I was very interested talking to him and his father with you and pit lane this morning. Gee, they're a dedicated family this Sunday. I mean, he really wants to get to Europe and drive Formula One.
It's absolutely incredible, the support that his father gives him. I had a talk with him this morning, and he was talking in great detail. You can see the front wings of the car. They've even got some lightweight material from America to keep those front wings up. Now, the majority of people would settle with just having aluminium or the normal sort of material. They've gone to the trouble of getting some special material over from the States to keep those front wings up, therefore saving about 1 or 2 kilos. They've made the side pods, which are the section on the side of the car which house the radiators. They've been made in carbon fibre to save yet another 2 or 3 kilos. So You know, he really does work on the car a lot and concentrates on getting the weight down. Simon's very keen on keeping his weight down. He's a very fit young guy. He really does concentrate on his fitness. And it's terrific to see such a good family effort going in.
Yeah, interesting too, because he works with the 60 Minutes crew. He's a sound operator with 60 Minutes here on the 9 network. So involved with Channel 9, involved with audio, and at the moment doing the best he can to try and reel in Poole to take first place in this championship. Going past one of the slower cars there. Simon Kane leading the Stanley Tours Championship and doing a pretty fair job, and just wants to get overseas and certainly race in Formula One, just 22 years of age. And the car is a Rolt Perkins. Larry Perkins prepares the engine. In fact, Larry Perkins does a job on a lot of the cars in this particular series. He also works on Scaife, Poole, McLaughlin and Crompton's cars.
Yeah, here we see Richard Davidson, actually, who comes from a long line of motor racing drivers. His father, of course, was Lex Davison, a very famous racing driver in the early part of Australian motor racing. His brother John has raced. Richard, unfortunately, crashed this car fairly heavily several months ago, and he's worked fairly hard to get it back on the track, and here he is enjoying himself. He's a guy that really enjoys his racing.
Tragic thing, of course, about the Davidson family, the father Lex lost his life at this particular circuit.
Yes, he did, going up the back straight. He unfortunately went off and lost his life at the circuit. But a man that won many Australian Grand Prix and competed in the Monte Carlo Rally with my father. All right, we're back on Mark Scaife, who is driving and breaking lap records virtually lap after lap, and clawed his way back up into 4th spot.
He had an amazing drive. He was leading, of course, when he spun the car off at the end of the back straight through those S's. You could see the thing sliding around. He's lowered the lap record in his endeavour to get back into it. I really can't see that he can get in touch with the leaders, but he's back into 4th place. He was down as far as 8th or 9th. And blasted his way back into maybe a place. A very determined young man, as I was saying, has just come back from England, where he tested the World Championship Le Mans type sports cars for Nissan, and after the day's testing proved to be only a 1/10 of a second slower than Mark Brundle. And I know Freddie Gibson, his team manager with Nissan, was just so excited about being over there with him, and said he really has got a future perhaps in World Championship sports cars.
I can see he's got a cowling coming loose there, Daryl. I hope that doesn't fly off. It's actually, the gap is increasing. It might go down as his speed decreases. Obviously, the more aerodynamic load that's on that pod, the more pressure it has, therefore it'll lift up. So if he goes through these, it may, yes, it's coming down slightly when the aerodynamic effects isn't as great on it. And when he goes up the straight, it just shows you how much air passes through those. You can physically see it lifting by about 4 or 5 inches. That's the one there on the left-hand side. You can see the gap now. Well, that gap raises to about 6 inches going up the straight and comes down through the slower section.
Let's keep our eyes on that. Got a loose picture talking about. This is an SPA car. It was built in England specifically for this series. Short wheelbase car, so it hasn't been quite as competitive on the longer circuits that he hoped for. It'll be very competitive around Winton and Adelaide. But bad luck. $250,000 worth of motor car there, so it's a big investment to put your future another rung up the ladder.
Oh, it is indeed, but it's a very good car. Two of these cars were brought to Australia by Bap Romano, and Mark McLaughlin is in the other one for Thalgo Racing. They're quite good cars, they're beautifully finished. But having said all of that, it's still great to see Mark Poole out there in that Aussie car.
No doubt about this. So heading up toward the last of the laps of this particular race, and this fellow Mark Poole has done a fantastic job. Kane a long way back now. He's got traffic in front of him, so no doubt about it. Mark Poole is going to take this championship race out if he can just keep it on the black stuff for another half a lap or so. And there'll be some big celebrations over in South Australia, let me tell you, because congratulations to the TAFE College. I don't want to put the mocker on you, but what a great thing. They've built an Australian car that's taken on the best that Europe can design and build, and here they are winning today, and it's a marvellous, marvellous thing for Australian motorsport.
It certainly is, Daz. I think it's a great credit to all of them. It just shows that we've always known we've got the best mechanics in the world anyway. Okay, he's coming up to take the flag down. A very, very well-deserved victory indeed. I think that's a great effort by Mark and everybody connected with the Shrike. Great win. All right, Simon Kane comes across to finish in 2nd place. Good drive from Simon. Nice, steady drive. Didn't do anything stupid. Kept the car on the island. Bad luck for Well, actually, Mark Scaife, it's not so much like, I think he just went into the corner a little bit too hard, lost the rear end of the car, then slid into those tyre barriers. But that's another lesson in the life. He's 23 years of age. He's got a long way to go yet.
Certainly, and I guess, if anything, Simon Kane has got to get his starts right. He really does lose a lot off the grid, doesn't he?
Well, that seemed to be the case at Oran Park and here today. I mean, he qualifies extremely well. He's certainly got the speed, you know, and by virtue of the fact that he's got, I think, 4 or 5 pole positions to his credit so far. He's not lacking in any speed, but perhaps he just have to get those starts a bit better.
Okay, you're looking at some of the best young drivers in this country, winding their way around after a very exciting race. Great drive from Mark Poole.